Hello students, today we are discussing delegation. Last time I was discussing decentralization. There was question in BPSC once, differentiate between decentralization and delegation. Delegation is one of the important principles of administration, and there has been twice question about this topic in BPSC. There was full question on the delegation, and there has been note on delegation also asked frequently. In 56-59 question was delegation is regarded as the key to the efficient functioning of organization and its goal attainment. You have to explain this statement by giving example. This question was asked. Get a point? So we will cover all these aspects today and discuss what is delegation and how it is different from decentralization. Getting a point? As I told that today we live in the age of the delegation. You know, we always talk of 4Ds, 5Ds, etc. So if you discuss what are D, then deconcentration, devolution, delegation, decentralization. Getting one, these things are very common presently. Democratization. Getting a point. So these things are become this terminology are become very popular these days, particularly in present government. This government use several type of abbreviation presently to explain their view and to emphasize them. So we have here 4 or 5D, you can say deconcentration, devolution, decentralization, delegation, democratization. Get a point? So there can be number of Ds. So this thing we require to do. So what is delegation? If someone asks you, I tell you, just I told we live in age of delegation. From morning to evening, we delegate several our function to other agency. Because we don't have time, we don't have expertise, if we start doing all work ourselves, then it will be very difficult for us to manage. So what we require to do, we do only those things which are very important very important for us, and delegate rest function to other agencies. Getting a point? That's why in present you may find there may be network of multinational company and other agency providing different type of services, because for services we are dependent on this agency. Getting point? You can find every corner of your city there is McDonald's, there is Pizza Hut, there can be, you can say, other Burger World, etc. So what are these things? The company are located somewhere else. They may be working from Bombay, they may be working from Delhi, they may be working from America or New York, but through delegation they reach to you. Getting point? So delegation is a very important phenomena through which you can multiply your personality. Through delegation only, McDonald has come to your doorstep. Through delegation only, the election commission is in position to conduct election throughout country in a single day. It is a delegation through which president, while being constitutional head, is in position to get his function performed by other agency without any difficulty. Getting point? So delegation is very important. It is delegation through which central government gets its policy implemented by state government effectively. So delegation is everywhere, and for each and every functioning we require delegation. So delegation means what? Delegation means assigning duty on others. Get your point? Assigning duty on others. If you assign duty on some other person, definitely you require to give authority also. Get your point? Then what is difference between delegation and decentralization? Here one thing that is very important thing, that in delegation we assign duty plus authority, and in decentralization we have to transfer authority from top to bottom. So there is some term like transfer in decentralization, and here assigning. is the term used in delegation that is more important. So you have to keep in mind. Getting point? So the literal meaning of delegation is to assigning duty on others. And to perform this duty you required to assign authority also. That's why several scholars who define delegation while having a reference of authority also. Like I must tell you what Monet says, delegation means conferring of a specified authority by higher to a lower authority. Conferring means sopna of a specified authority by higher to lower one. Getting point? In the same way, Terry says delegation means conferring authority from one executive or organizational unit to another. Getting point? Means here, if you see diagram, it is decentralization, it is delegation. If A transfers some of its function or confers some of its function or duty to B, this is delegation. And this is decentralization. If power from there to here it is getting transferred, it is decentralization. I am here giving one table through which I try to explain what is the difference between delegation and decentralization. I told delegation is a process. Decentralization is, you can say, outcome of delegation. Getting ultimate of delegation. Last stage of delegation is called decentralization. Delegation reflects senior subordinate relationship. Decentralization reflects higher lower relationship. Get a point? Delegation is compulsory for management. Decentralization can be discretionary or deliberate for higher management. In delegation, right to control is possible. Means senior can exercise control over subordinate. While in decentralization, even right to control is delegated. Getting point? Delegation is important technique of management. Decentralization is ultimate philosophy of management. Delegation can be formal and informal both. Decentralization is always formal. Delegation can be on personal basis or impersonal basis, but decentralization always on impersonal basis. Delegation can be cross, downward, upward, but decentralization is always downward. In this way, delegation is something like means, decentralization is something like end. So there is a difference between delegation and decentralization. Get your point? So if you see Article 3 to 4, 6, here under Article 7, Schedule 7, there is division of work between center and state. This is some sort of decentralization. But Article 258 says that center can assign certain of its duty to state. This is delegation. Getting one, Article 112 says it is precedent to prepare budget and present before both houses of parliament. But in practice, it is prepared and presented by Ministry of Finance. It is delegation. Under Article 53, executive power is vested in President. But Article 74, in where Prime Minister, Council of Ministers, which exercises all power of President, vest executive power. So this is delegation. So we find everywhere from top to bottom there is delegation. That is very common phenomena. As I told, delegation is basically assigning duty, conferring duty, and to conferring duty it also requires to give authority also. Getting point? Here, Millet is very important person, and he tried to define delegation in some little bit elaborate way. He told that delegation does not mean only conferring authority or assigning duty to others. It has more justification. He told delegation means conferring discretion upon others so that he can use his discretion to perform certain work or duty within framework of his duty. Get a point? So what you can say, when you give delegation, you give someone discretion, and with discretion, this individual is in position to perform certain duty within the prescribed limit. So this is very important point. So delegation is very important like decentralization. As yesterday I was telling that decentralization is a spiritual connotation of a spiritual dimension. In the same way, you can say delegation is also having some spiritual or very elaborate aspect also. Getting point? In general, deconcentration, devolution, delegation, or decentralization seems to be equal, but there is difference. When you talk in administrative sense, that is deconcentration, means creation of district, creation of subdivision is called deconcentration. When you talk of devolution, it is basically transfer of function from center to state. It can be political, it can be legal, but when it is combined administrative, legal and political, all this is decentralization like Panchayati Raj established institution, that is decentralization. And what is delegation? That assigning, not transferring. If you are assigning or conferring authority to others, this is delegation. Getting point? And when you are transferring, this is decentralization. So decentralization can be, you can say, delegation is basically, you can say, three-legged stool. Getting point? Three-legged stool. One is basically authority. Second, you can say responsibility, and third can be accountability. So this is basic point. This is some sort of, you can say, authority, responsibility, and accountability. These three-legged, you can say, some sort of, it is tool. So what is difference between decentralization? Decentralization will be four-legged pool and it is three-legged pool. Getting point? Hierarchy is two-legged pool. In hierarchy there is senior subordinate, and if you assign more things that becomes three-legged. So decentralization is four-legged and delegation is three-legged. Getting point? Teen paw wala. Getting point? This is a very important thing. Now we will discuss what is delegation, how it takes place. You know, in delegation there can be two individuals. First delegator and second delegatee. Delegator is person who confers certain his duty to others. He is delegator. He gives or confers authority also. And delegatee is the other end of the delegation. He is the person who receives duty and he also receives authority. So delegator and delegatee are two important components. Getting point? Mohit Bhattacharya tried to explain the process of delegation. Getting a point? So what he says, when you talk of delegation, it takes place through following four stages. So what is first stage? Assignment of duty. Means the delegator delegates certain duty to, confers certain duty to delegatee. The first stage. Second stage is basically granting of authority. Means delegator grants certain authority to delegatee. Number three, creation of an obligation. Means delegatee becomes duty bound to complete the work. And number four, no further obligation, delegation of obligation by delegatee to his subordinate. Means suppose A is delegator, B is delegatee. So first A delegates some duty to B. Number two, A delegates power or authority to B to perform the duty. Number C, there is creation of obligation, means B is now duty bound to complete the work. And number four, B cannot delegate its functions to C or other person. He cannot further delegate. So this is the beauty of the things. Suppose B wants to delegate his functions to other, then there will be separate process that will not continue to it or tag with the A. So this is the thing you require to keep in mind. Getting point? So delegation, at the same time we find existence of authority in two individuals, in delegatee and delegator also. Several persons feel very amazed that how it can be possible. Authority may be either vested in delegator or delegatee. How it can be in both individuals at the same time. Getting point? Terry has tried to explain by giving an example that while imparting education, imparting knowledge with others. You retain your knowledge also. In the same way, in delegation also, when delegator gives or assign authority to delegate, even then he retains ultimate authority. So this is, and whenever he thinks that to withdraw the delegation, he is free to do. So in delegation, we find two things, that there is coexistence of authority at the same time in delegator and delegatee both. Getting point? And delegator, whensoever feels that he requires to delegate, withdraw delegation, he can do. So there is no difficulty as such. He can increase delegation also. Getting point? So this is the thing you require to keep in mind. Delegation is very important phenomena. It can be a various type also. So now I will try to discuss several types of delegation. So what can be delegation? On the basis of direction, we can classify delegation in three ways: upward, downward, and crossward. Means if a subordinate transfer or confers functions to higher one, that is upward. That is very uncommon, very few. Under Article 1258, it is a duty, it is state also which can delegate certain function to center. So this is upward. And usually delegation is downward, means center delegates function to state. Get a point? So the cross means, or a lateral means, if one state delegates certain functions to another, that is lateral one. So delegation can be upward, downward, and lateral also. Delegation can be formal and informal. Formal means if takes place through certain defined rules and pattern, that is formal one, and if it takes place through on personal level, that is informal. Getting it? If on the basis of position, it is formal. On basis of individual, it is informal. Then it can be conditional and unconditional. If some condition is attached with delegation, it is conditional, and if no condition is attached, that is non-conditional. And full and partial. If delegator delegates entire authority to delegate, it is full delegation, and if it does some function to a delegatee and some retains it, then it is partial one. Then permanent and temporary. If delegator delegates his function, the authority to delegate permanently, it is permanent delegation. And if he delegates power for time being, it is temporary one. Getting point? Then it can be general and specific also. If delegator delegates some of its function, no matter what nature it has, it is general. If delegator delegates some specified functions to delegate, this is called a specific one. Like Article 53, a general delegation, and Article 112 is basically a specific delegation. Get a point? So this is thing you require. Then delegation can be direct and indirect also. If delegation between A to B is direct and A to C is indirect, if it is through B. In general, it is not possible, but it is sometimes it can be seen. Get a point? So delegation is very important thing. I have pointed out several types of delegation. Get a point? Direct, indirect, then formal, informal, then I told conditional, unconditional, then I told full and partial, permanent and temporary, on the basis of direction, upward, downward, lateral, etc. Getting point? Mary Parker Follett, a very important thinker, she considered bridge between classical theorist and behavioral theorist. Getting point? She is considered first human relation theorist, told that delegation of authority is not possible. She told that delegation of authority is myth. It provokes. It's not possible because authority is basically functional, and when authority is derivative, then when function is assigned or function is transferred, authority is automatically transferred. So it does not matter whether you like or not, and functional authority carries responsibility with it. Then it's not possible. So Mary Parker Follett term delegation of authority is mere myth. it is not possible. Getting a point? So this is basic point. Why Mary Parker Follett says? Because she considered authority as functional, and she says when function is transferred, authority is automatically transferred, and functional authority carries with it responsibility also. So all go together. Means function, authority and responsibility are combo pack and all go together. Getting a point? So it is not feasible that you assign duty, then assign authority, then you can do responsibility or not. So this is not the thing you require to see. Getting a point? So this is basic thing. Delegation is number of functions. Delegation is number of objectives to be realized. I have tried to point out here that it is concerned with work, it is concerned with employee, it is concerned with management, it is concerned with organization also. Means what? Through delegation, we can increase quantity wise and quality wise the work also. We can, through delegation, we can give self-respect and you can say resourcefulness among employee also. Through delegation, management can be relieved of having qualitative work. And through delegation, organization would be in position to get its goal realized effectively. That's why there was question in BPSC, in 56 BPSC, delegation is key to efficient functioning of organization and its goal attainment. Suppose if there is no delegation at all in organization, then what will happen? No work will take place effectively. If election commission cannot delegate its function to subordinate agency, then how election will take place? If president is not in position to delegate his functions to executive, then how he can perform his duty? If state cannot delegate his function to state as center, then how the goal objective will be realized? So this thing is required to keep. Through delegation, goal realization is possible. Through delegation, you can say the workload can be managed. Through delegation, you can say you can increase resourcefulness and competence or self-confidence in employee. So what can we benefit? First, it reduces the burden of superior. So the superior can be in better position to address the core issue. Then it also reduces or avoids delay. Then you can say it facilitates adjustment of national policy to local issues, local conditions. Then you can say it also gives training to subordinate their responsibility and take decisions. Then you can say it also facilitates emergence of second line leadership. Then it's overcome complexity in administration and it facilitates, you can say, specialization also. So it increases the sense of responsibility and interest in employee, and it can overcome congestion of work at the top. So what I mean to say, what are the merits of decentralization can be also clubbed with the delegation also. Then delegation basically facilitates management to concentrate on important issue because it relieves him of useless or minor responsibility. Next, it also facilitates adoption of specialization. It is basically, you can say, synonymous of personal advocacy. Means a person cannot be complete in itself. He can get his completeness only through delegation. So what I mean to say, through delegation you can multiply your personality. You can get your work done through different agency, through delegation also. So delegation has number of benefits, number of advantages, and presently we don't have any option except delegation. So we require to delegate maximum functions to subordinate or other agencies so that we can concentrate on certain core issue and focus on goal realization. So this is very important. Suppose Prime Minister is supposed to perform all functions, no matter whether they are minor or major. Then what will happen? He will be involved throughout day in useless activity. So he cannot give concentration over major issue or core issue. So through delegation is relaxed, and now he can concentrate on core issue and take important decisions. So that is very important point. So no, if you can say presently, no delegation, no effective functioning, no goal realization. So delegation is very, suppose you take for yourself also. You try to do all work yourself. You don't delegate any functions to others. Then what you'll find, throughout day you will be involved in doing this and that activity, and you are overburdened and not in position to do your work effectively. So what requires, you delegate certain functions which are of an important nature to subordinate agency and focus on core issue, then definitely you will be in better position and in position to get your goal realized. So this is very important thing. Getting a point? So but delegation is important, there is no denial, but it has also certain limitation also, certain hurdle also. So we can divide the hindrance of delegation into two heads: the organizational limitations or hurdles, or you can say personal individual hurdles or hindrance. So what can be organizational? It is some sort of related to organization, like a small size of organization. Then you can say lack of well-established rules and regulation. This is also you can say. Then you can say unstable working condition. Then you can say lack of effective means of communication. Then you can say lack of effective means of coordination. The lack of, you can say, clarity wherever responsibility and authority is concerned. Then you can say lack of effective means of work control. So there can be several things related to organization which will work against delegation. So we have to point out those things which are extrinsic factors working in delegation against it. And now we will discuss personal hindrance or individual hindrance. It can be due to individual factor or human factor, like inflated ego. Seniors having inflated ego. They don't want to trust on others. They don't want to talk to subordinate. They feel some sort of superiority complex. So this is major reason. Superior also have some sort of fear that they may face conspiracy hate against him. So this is also, they may fear that subordinate may spoil the work if we delegate function to them. When the person is very, you can say, competent, when he does not believe in delegation, rather he wants to do all works himself. Then lack of emotional maturity is also one of the important reasons. That is, leaders are definitely important. They are having good position, but they lack emotional maturity. That's why they cannot delegate. Then sometimes political factors and considerations also come in the way of delegation. Even cultural hindrances you can point out here. Some person they desire to delegate, but they don't know how to delegate. So this is also you find in organization. So several things I try to point out. The concept of the symbol of leadership and delegation cannot go together. The leadership believes in concentration of authority, while delegation requires dispersal of authority. So these are some reasons where you find delegation gets organizational and individual hindrances. But despite these limitations, delegation is very much required, very much important, and in organization it has no alternative. Presently, in complex framework, we don't have any option other than delegating to others. So this is a thing. But one thing we find that in organization, there is no manual which describes how to delegate. We find the same person who he delegates his authority differently into different situations, and it is also found in same identical condition. Two individuals respond differently. So there is no specified guideline can be given for delegation. It is up to individual and prevailing situation to determine the quality and quantity of delegation. Getting point, wheresoever 21st century public administration is concerned, the concept of delegation is very important. Presently, like coordination, decentralization, delegation has very increasing importance, and in coming years, as it seems today, as the complexity of administration increasing, as specialization increasing, enormous size of administration is mounting. So we feel that in coming years, the importance of delegation is bound to increase. Getting point? So you have to write one attempt this question. I discussed two things today. First, difference between decentralization and delegation, and second, what are objectives, how delegation can be considered a key to goal realization. If delegation is basically available and functioning in proper way in organization, then it is guarantee of a smooth functioning and effective goal realization. And in coming year also, as the situation seems to be, its importance is likely to increase. Getting point? So you go through books, you can listen my lectures twice or thrice and try to write answer. And if you have any sort of difficulty, you can contact me. Okay, all the best.